When it comes to ransomware, there is this site here called nomoreransom.org, and it's a collaboration between Kaspersky, McAfee and some other organisations, and what they're trying to do is stop the hold that ransomware attacks have over businesses. So they produce the decryption keys to unencrypt your data. So with a ransomware attack, what happens is that your data gets locked up. So somebody gets hold of it and they lock it so you can't get to it. You pay the money and they unlock it for you. The trouble is, you pay the money, they unlock it, they know that you'll pay. They've already got into your computer equipment. It's like when you get, your home broken into. Quite often they say, once you've been broken into, you'll quite often be broken into again a short while after, because they know you will have replaced the equipment that they stole the first time. It's the same with hackers. Once they know they've got into your systems, unless you've spent a decent amount of money shoring up your security, they know they can get in again. So they'll just do it again. So this is a stand against it, where they have decryption keys, so you don't have to pay the ransom and you can get your data unencrypted. So the other thing that we certainly can do is look to build the workforce of the future. Now, I know you probably can't see all the, well, you definitely can't see all the detail on that, but if you look at information security, there are a lot of things that you can do to become part of the cyber workforce of the future. So I know 3A has a big push on tech. The reason for that, partly, is that tech is such a growing sector. It is an area where you get good pay, you get a lot of opportunities, there's a massive amount of career development in it. In my time being in IT, I worked for other companies for the first 15 years of my career, up until 2000. And I worked for big companies, I worked for small companies. I got to, when I was sort of promoted, I got to run the whole of a BTR division. My budget that I had to spend was $8 million capital expenditure. That was back in 1995. So I had a team of people in the UK and I had a team of people in the States. Every factory we had, I had some people on site there as well. And that was before I was 30. So you can progress really quickly, really easily in IT, in tech, if it's something that interests you. I love it. I just think it's just such an interesting field to work in. And it doesn't ever stand still. So if you get bored easily, it's a great career to choose because you'll never have 2 days the same. Since I've had my business, it supported me through lifestyle changes of having children. So it allowed me the opportunity to be at home when I wanted to be at home with young children. And then it allowed me to go back and build my business. So I have a team of people who work with me now. And I get to work all around the world. I sit on the board of directors for CompTIA. They asked me to join that 2.5 years ago. So I go over to America for board meetings 3 times a year. I meet senior people in big organisations like the president of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Canada, the vice president of Dell in the US, senior people in Sophos, in all sorts of big companies, senior guy in Intel. I get to meet them and I get to talk to them and I get to work with them. So then when I come back and I've got my little company here in Tamworth, it's great because I can bring what they've taught me back and I can put it in my business and make that grow. But then I also sit on the education faculty because teaching, training is what I do for a living. So I get to work with Apple and I get to go and work all around Europe. So they send me to Spain, to Germany, to France, in the UK as well, the Netherlands, and I get to go and train their partner networks. I've worked with Kaspersky, and again, been all around France, Germany, Spain, the UK. I get to mentor some of their staff. So if you want something that is a career, not just a job, you want something that is always interesting, that will take you to different countries if that's what you want, You know, I was in Las Vegas last week. There's a big IT company called Continuum, and they provide what are called NOC services. So these days, where you might have had an IT department who looked after all your equipment, and then that's been taken out of a company, and then you have a managed service provider who's an external supplier who looks after your equipment. What Continuum do is they look after the managed service provider. So where the managed service provider struggles and they get to the edge of their knowledge when it comes to, you know, I can't work out what the problem with this server is. I don't know why that network's not working. Or this patch hasn't worked, what do I do with it on this desktop? Then Continuum provide Network Operations Centre. So they have 24/7 coverage, they have worldwide coverage, and they will look after managed service providers to make sure that the end user gets the level of customer service they need. So I went to their worldwide partner conference last week, and I got to speak to their delegates and run a training session for them. So, you know, if you like travel, tech is definitely a career to get involved in. Security, IoT are going to be the biggest growth areas within the tech sector, without doubt, over the next few years. There was a lot of talk at the conference last week about security, because managed service providers need to up their game in terms of how they educate their end users to minimise the potential for a cyber attack. So there's a lot going on in that sphere. Continuum as a company, they're developing their own solutions to help MSPs manage security. So it's looking at it from the vendor perspective, the partner perspective, as well as the end user. There is a lot of activity going on around the world, and it is a fantastic opportunity to get into.